Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents One Step Closer, From Zero to Number One, Becoming Linkin Park, by Jeff Blue, narrated by Jeff Blue. This book is dedicated to those who relentlessly pursue their dreams and make them a reality, and the few true friends we have in life who push us to be our best. Thanks Mom, Dad, rest in peace, Lee Lubin, David Remen, Mojo and Dr. Chubbs, rest in peace, and Cannon Blue. Members of the band in alphabetical order: Chester Bennington, Rob Borden, Kyle Christener, Brad Delson, Dave Farrell, Joe Hahn, Scott Koziol, Mike Shinoda, Mark Wakefield. Forward. Dear reader, I am so proud to introduce you to my friend Jeff Blue. Most folks don't know how many lives he has changed over the last few decades. I was there the moment Jeff reached out to Chester and changed our lives forever. If not for Jeff having been there from day one and having literally staked his career on them with Warner Brothers, Xero's music would not have touched the lives of so many. We all know them now as Linkin Park, and after you read this book, you'll know them a lot better. Thank you, Jeff, for having faith, the pure talent to recognize talent, and the passion and determination to make all of our dreams come true, especially when no one else believed. For all the fans, I know you will find Jeff's book inspirational and revelatory. You will get an inside look from someone who put all the ingredients together to launch hybrid theory into your hearts and minds. Jeff gave Chester the opportunity to share his angelic voice and Linkin Park the chance to share their singular musical vision with the world. My ex-husband and Lincoln have been able to help multiple generations with their personal struggles as a result. I will never forget where we came from or the individuals that helped make Linkin Park the household name it is today. My son Draven and I will always be grateful to Jeff for sharing these stories and giving people the opportunity to see Chester more as a person and not just as a rock star. I'm truly honored to have experienced this journey with you. With humble gratitude, Samantha Bennington. Chapter 1. My New Intern. Head pounding and exhausted, I stumbled into the Zomba Jive music lobby. I was hit in the face by Nick Carter singing, "As Long as You Love Me." It should be illegal to play Backstreet Boys before 10 in the morning. It's almost 10:15, a voice replied as I walked past the black carpet and red pleather sofas at the front desk. "Geez, what happened to you?" our receptionist Stephanie asked as she handed me a stack of CDs with my name on them. "The Interscope party is what happened," I tried to laugh. "I thought you were lecturing at UCLA last night." I managed to achieve both objectives." "Any luck in finding an intern?" Stephanie asked. "Everyone just wants school credit. I want somebody with ambition and a good ear for music. Otherwise, it's not worth the time," I said, walking away as the Backstreet Boys track continued blasting out of a colleague's office. "By the way, there's a kid," she shouted after me, but her voice was soon drowned out by the music. Staggering past the rows of gold and platinum plaques adorning the walls, I turned the corner into my office when I was smacked in the leg by a Converse sneaker. Someone with a monster head of curly hair and dressed in camouflage shorts was spinning in my office chair. The stack of CDs flew out of my hands. "What the hell? Who are you?" I asked, dumbfounded. The mop of hair jumped up. Extending his hand, he said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm Brad Delson. I was at your lecture last night." As I limped toward my guest chair, my office phone rang. It was Stephanie. "Hey, I wasn't sure you heard me. There's someone waiting for you in your office. Said you were expecting him." "No, I wasn't. At least I don't think I was." "I want an office like this someday. You've got a kick-ass drum set, guitars, keyboards, and a killer view of Sunset Boulevard." "Pretty sick," Brad said enthusiastically. "Whoa, back up. What are you doing in my office?" "You said you were looking for an intern last night. Someone to help you develop your new artist, Macy Gray?" "Oh yeah, you were the one who liked her demo. I remember the hair now," I chuckled. "You're lucky. I wasn't even going to come in till much later today. You would have missed me." I contemplated his mop of curly brown hair. Through my thudding headache, I remembered he actually made some intelligent comments about Macy's music. "Hey, you're still sitting in my chair. Get up," I said jokingly. We began picking up the CDs, and he said, "I was really inspired by your lecture, Mr. Blue. You can call me Jeff. Mr. Blue is my dad," I said jokingly. He proceeded to tell me about growing up in Agoura, California, his upbringing, and his love for Metallica. His parents were pushing him into law school, but he wanted a career in music. "Man, I've been there," I laughed. Here's some free advice. Whatever you do, don't go to law school unless you're absolutely dying to be miserable. He looked me up and down in my blue jeans and white t-shirt. You get to dress like that every day? Well, it is the music business, and I save a ton on dry cleaning compared to lawyers, I said as he glanced at my walls. That's a perk. So, what do you look for when you're signing an artist? He asked. Well, that's the million-dollar question, I said. I look for identity, authenticity, an iconic voice, hit songs, and of course, talent. But the difference between the most talented people and the superstars is that the superstars are hungrier. They work harder and they can deal with rejection. They'll do whatever it takes. That's who I want to work with. Well, I definitely have the drive. He studied the corn plaque on my wall and then pointed to a poster of Limp Bizkit. He rolled his eyes. I'm going to create a band that blows them away. You'll see. Slow your roll. You're not even my intern yet and you're already dissing my bands? Plus, I've never heard of an internship turning into a record deal, I laughed. Just then, Stephanie buzzed. You got some messages this morning from UCLA students about the internship. You want to set up some interviews? I glanced at the phone and then back at Brad. He was holding my electric guitar. I saw a lot of myself in this kid. At the same time, across town in Pasadena, a talented artist named Mike Shinoda was scribbling rap lyrics in his notebook, dreaming of taking his art to a new level. 400 miles away, in Phoenix, Arizona, a skinny kid named Chester Bennington was getting inked with an exploding atom bomb tattoo on his back. Not knowing what the universe was aligning at that moment, I replied, "Tell him it's filled, please." Brad looked up from picking out a melody on the guitar, and he smiled. It was clear to me that he could play, and that there was something special about him. It wasn't just his drive, intelligence, and extreme confidence. Something in my mind said, this kid is a star. At that moment, we both knew my new intern was already in front of me. However, no one could have predicted where it would lead. Chapter 2. Follow Your Gut. It was early November 1997. I had just convinced Zamba Music Publishing to take a chance on Macy Gray, even though she had been dropped by her manager, her publisher, and her record label. I was certain she had the talent to be a star, but the music industry can be unforgiving. Once you're dropped, there's a stigma attached that's nearly impossible to overcome. I had my head in my hands when Brad came in. "What's wrong?" Brad asked. "I'm just having a hard time getting A&R people to give Macy a chance." "I'm trying to understand exactly what you do," he said. "It seems like publishing is a lot like A&R, but it really isn't." "Well, that's an accurate yet ambiguous statement, Brad. Maybe you should go to law school after all," I laughed. "Here's your pop internship quiz. Tell me the difference between my job as a manager of creative at a publishing company compared to an A&R exec at a record label." Brad pursed his lips. "Don't give me shit if I get this wrong, but the way I see it, your job as a publisher is to sign bands or artists, acquire a percentage of their copyright or ownership in the songs, register the songs with performance rights organizations such as BMI or ASCAP, collect royalties for performance and mechanicals, which are the sales of the physical album, get placements for the songs in film and TV for fees, which is called synchronization or sync licenses, and sometimes do development deals for artists who don't have any income stream for their songs yet." "Ha! That's really good. I see you've been studying my UCLA lecture syllabus, or you're reading off a cheat sheet right now," I said. To clarify, the publisher's job is not just to sign the bands, but to sign the songwriters of the songs that the artist or band records and releases. In actuality, the songwriter may be the artist themselves or other contributing songwriters, beat makers, lyricists, anyone who has a credit as a writer on a song. In regards to money, in a co-publishing deal, the publisher will give an advance to the writer to acquire half of the publishing the writer owns. I grabbed a piece of paper and a pen and drew a large circle with a vertical line down the middle. Think of the song as a pie. Split down the middle, you've got two sets of rights, the publisher's share on one side and the writer's share on the other. You, as a songwriter, own both your writer's share and publisher's share, but you can do a co-publishing deal where you transfer your rights to half of your publisher's share, which comes out to about 25% of the entire pie, to a music publisher, like me, for a money advance, and we will collect and exploit your catalog. "Right," he said, rubbing his chin. "Okay, then what does the A&R executive do at a record label?" Well, the A&R person discovers and signs the artist to the record label. They map out the plan with the label for the artist, choose the producer, decide which songs will be on the album, help with marketing, and function as the cheerleader/liaison with all the other departments like radio, touring, publicity, etc. So what you're doing with development is basically doing a publishing and A&R job in one, but you're only getting credit as the publisher? My goal is to do A&R for a record label. And if you have a dream, you got to do whatever it takes to make it a reality. I'm paying my dues. I may fail along the way, but that's part of the life learning experience. Standing up, I said, I hope you actually get something out of this internship. You're a really smart guy. Right now, I need to listen to the next demo. Maybe we can find a new band to sign to Zama in that stack of demos. Let's work. Chapter 3. The Xero Cassette. Catch! He said a little too late as a cassette tape flew through the air, skidded across my desk, and knocked over a half-full can of Dr. Pepper. Way to make an entrance, Brad. Oops. Sorry, man. You should hear this new music. He grabbed the cassette, popped it in the deck, and cranked the volume. Sitting back in my chair, I listened as Brad began wiping up the spill. I'll just use this promo tape. That's the new Limp Bizkit t-shirt signed by my band for my birthday, I said, shaking my head. I picked up the cassette case. Xero? I glanced at the artwork, which was a Xerox copy of what appeared to be a mountain. On the inside was a faded photo of 4 band members and a close-up photo of some guy. No song titles? And who's this dude? That's Mike, the rapper. And don't talk over the music, Brad replied half-jokingly. He rewound the tape. Listen again from the start. This first song is called Fuse. Isn't that the intro from Disney's Haunted House album? I wore that record out in kindergarten. I wasn't digging the song much at all. The second song, with no title, incorporated a lot of hip-hop. I loved the beat, the rapping was old school, and it had a simplistic guitar line with tasty harmonics that was instantly memorable. The song transitioned into an Alice in Chains-style chorus, followed by a Rage Against the Machine-style guitar breakdown with a hard-edged bridge that really impressed me. Is this one singer or two? Rapper and a singer, Brad replied. I flipped the tape over and played the third song, Stick and Move. My interest waned. The fourth song, Reading My Eyes, however, pulled me back in. The rapper was talented, and I noticed an undeniable chemistry between him and the guitarist. There was something about the time signature that caught my attention as well, and I suddenly suspected it was Brad. I hoped it was Brad. After the tape ended, Brad turned around. Well? He asked. It's cool, I said as I hit the eject button. That's it? What don't you like about it? I didn't say I didn't like it. It has potential, but that guitarist sucks ass. That's my band. That's me on guitar. Bursting into laughter, I said, I figured that. I'm messing with you, man. The guitar hooks are killer. I'm impressed. The writing is decent, but it needs more character. Every part, every second of each song should be a hook. They should be short, believable, dynamic, and engage the listener from the first second. The band needs to be iconic and have an urgency about them. What do you mean urgent and iconic? I need to hear an iconic voice. All great artists are identifiable the minute you hear them on the radio. For example, we both can probably tell within 3 seconds any Queen, Metallica, or Korn song by the drum sound, the guitar tone, or the vocal tone. This demo doesn't really have that. However, I will say I like the call and response hook concept between the rapper and singer. The call and response theme could be a great identifier if you can get these songs stronger. Otherwise, you're competing with an industry flooded right now with rap rock bands. You need to stand out more. Hit songs, great vocals, identifiable sound. Brad nodded. Thanks, man. We're constantly working on new songs. Great. That's critical. Never stop writing. My favorite song is that second one. Do you have any others? Really? You like the second song? That's probably our least favorite, he laughed. We're working on a new song right now called Rhinestone. I'll play it for you when it's done. I look forward to it, buddy. Either way, I'd love to see your band sometime, even if it's just to give you some shit, I teased. We haven't booked our first gig yet, but I'll let you know. I could feel Brad's focus. He and I shared the same addiction to music, and it inspired me. I was impressed with his ability to combine a logical and diplomatic approach to a creative business. Unconsciously, I had cemented my decision to believe in Brad, and nothing would shake that conviction. Chapter 4. First Sip of Whiskey. A heavy bass line was ripping through my office like a stampede of bulls when a cassette tape came flying through the air. This time I caught it. Ah, another Xero cassette, I said, looking at the creepy baby head on the cover. The new song I told you about, Rhinestone, it's on there. We got rid of the song you liked the most, he laughed. The track listing was Rhinestone, Reading My Eyes, Fuse, Stick and Move. Why would you get rid of one of the best songs from the demo? I picked up the cassette and listened through. The baby head was intriguing and an indication of the care and artistic vision the guys put into the band's message. When it was finished, we played it back again. You've put this together intelligently, I said. A well-rounded demo of no more than 5 songs, best songs first. All the songs sound different but are clearly the same band, and all the songs can fit on the same album. The production is raw and unpolished, like a bedroom demo, but that's good, because it leaves room for an A&R person's potential vision. Brad eased into the chair opposite my desk. I tried to hold back a grin. I wasn't sure why I liked the demo so much. Maybe it was the fact that I felt a connection with Brad, and I wanted to take him under my wing. I love the lyrics and the cinematic lines of Rhinestone, I told him. They're annoyingly stuck in my head, probably for the rest of my life, I laughed. The chemistry between you and the rapper is obvious. Rhinestone shows a lot of improvement. A week later, I was sitting down listening to a new band from Chicago called Disturbed when Brad walked in with an ear-to-ear smile and slammed a flyer right down on my desk. It's official. We play our first show on November 14th, he said. You're going to come, aren't you? What? I can't hear you. Turning down the volume on the stereo, I grabbed the flyer and shook my head. Shoot. I have a date on the 14th. I'll catch the next show, though. It would be great if you could make it. Blow off your date and come check us out, he laughed. Oh, I forgot. It's rare that you get a girl to agree to hang out with you. Ah, you're a musician and a comedian. The Friday afternoon of the show, Brad left my office and I wished him luck. From my office window, I could see him walking down Sunset to the Whisky A Go-Go, then unloading his gear with his band. I felt a tinge of guilt. He was right. I wanted to support Brad, so I canceled my plans, grabbed a slice of pizza, and walked up to the box office. I should be on Xero's list, I said to the girl with the tattoo on her arm of Raggedy Ann being stabbed in the heart. No, we don't have a guest list for Xero, she said without looking up. $10, please. He's good, the bouncer interrupted, motioning me inside to the venue. The room was pretty packed. They were opening for System of a Down, who had just signed with Rick Rubin, and SX10, which included Sendog from Cypress Hill. Los Angeles had a new scene developing right under our noses, with System, Incubus, Static X, Snot, Hoobastank, and others. I scoped out the primarily 21 to 27-year-old male-dominated attendees, all in baggy pants hanging down past their asses, just like Brad. My image clearly didn't fit in, so I pulled my tight jeans as low as they'd go until I could barely move. My sneakers squeaked against the sticky floor, and the room had the stench of sour beer mixed with a bit of Lysol, just like every rock club around the country. It smelled like rock and roll lived here. I came in just as Xero walked on stage. I felt butterflies. No one knew who the band was, and no one seemed to care. Brad, with his guitar slung low, headphones atop his curly hair, riffed on his guitar as the skilled rapper and vocalist each moved around the stage, along with the DJ who seemed to be more of an active musical participant than the token DJs used as props in most rap rock bands. I had never met the guys, but somehow I connected with them. It was raw and energetic, the rapper was engaging, and the band seemed to be having fun. I was drawn in until someone next to me snickered and said, "That rapper looks like a Smurf." At that point, I realized he was wearing a white beanie, blue glasses, and white gloves. Shit, I thought. He does kind of look like a Smurf. I refocused my thoughts on the band. After about 2 minutes, people started talking to each other and lost interest in the guys pouring their hearts out in front of them. I made some quick notes on a napkin. Vocals off-key, awkward stage presence, decent songs, didn't connect with the audience. With the last song playing, I scratched out some final thoughts and scribbled, "Potential." As I stuffed the napkin into my pocket, a kid to the side of me leaned over my shoulder. "You taking notes on this band? You forgot to write down. They sucked." "Man, come on. You have no idea how hard it is up there. And that was their first show," I said, defending the band. You an A&R guy? He replied. Well, kind of. I want to be. I'm a publisher with Zomba. Zomba? Never heard of it. I work at Columbia Records as an A&R assistant. I wouldn't waste your time on these guys. Xero? That about describes them. Thanks for your advice. My intern's the guitarist. I just came out to support, but I'll make up my own mind. I took it personally, but then realized that an A&R person's job is to make immediate judgments. Still, I muttered, what a dick, as I walked upstairs towards the dressing room. Brad greeted me, nodding his head. You made it. I thought I saw you in the audience. Hey guys, this is my boss, Jeff, Brad said to the band, who were all covered in sweat. Thanks for coming down, the rapper said with a smile. My name's Mike. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all. Great set, by the way. I really like that song, Rhinestone, I said, as the other bands crammed into the green room and music blared all around us. I just wanted to say hi. Maybe we can talk later in a more quiet, less sweaty, odor-filled room, I yelled. I'll let you guys clean up. See you on Monday, Brad screamed back. Brad arrived earlier than usual the following Monday morning. Throwing his Adidas jacket on the sofa, he planted himself down in front of my desk. So what'd you really think? Look, man, it was great to see you live. You were awesome, and there's something there, but something's also missing. Okay, do you have any constructive criticism? Glancing at my notes, I said, the songs were good, but could be better. The rapper was unique, had a cool vocal style, but the lead vocals were pitchy, to be honest. The band as a whole could be tighter, but you had fun, and that was evident. For a first gig, it's clear to me there's real potential. I'm seriously impressed. Is it cool if I bring the guys into the office? They'd love to talk to you. Of course, that's what I'm here for. I'd love to get to know them. 2 days later, Mark Wakefield, the lead singer, a tall, confident young man with an enigmatic and captivating presence, walked slowly down the hall. I held out my hand to shake his, and he nodded to me with his head held high, then reached out his hand to shake mine. Following him was Mike Shinoda, the rapper, who stopped and stared at a gold plaque for A Tribe Called Quest. He was quiet, absorbing everything going on around the office. He smiled politely and shook my hand, followed by bassist Dave Farrell and drummer Rob Gordon, who looked like a surfer. DJ Joe Hahn was quiet and reserved. Brad walked in last with a sense of pride as he waved to some of the Zomba employees. I knocked on a few office doors and introduced the band to a few execs. It was a full welcoming committee. Brad had already made a great impression on everyone at the office. Sitting down in my office, my mind raced with intrigue as I listened to Mike's methodical, intelligent questions, ping-ponging with Brad's intuitive remarks, culminating with new song ideas Mike played for me, which he recorded in his bedroom studio. I hit the pause button on the tape deck. Sorry to ask the obvious question, I started, but how'd you all meet? I've known Mike since we were kids, said Brad. We met Rob and Mark in high school in Agoura, and I met Dave at UCLA, and Mike met Joe in art school. There was an interesting dynamic between Mark, Mike, and Brad. Each exuded different leadership qualities, and I wondered how they'd interact on a team level. Mark seemed to be the leader, but it was apparent from these first few minutes that Mike was the more thoughtful and creative, and ultimately the quiet one in control. He didn't speak much, but when he did, his words had purpose. He was analytical, digesting everything I said along with the environment around him. We discussed music, the business of publishing, and record deals. I couldn't help but notice the ethnic and cultural diversity in the band. Mike was of Japanese heritage, and Joe was Korean. I was captivated on many levels. So what are your musical influences? I know Brad is a diehard Metallica fan and gives me shit because I like the Black Album, I laughed. You're not a real Metallica fan if your favorite record is the Black Album. Both Master of Puppets and Injustice for All destroy the Black Album. Jeff's just into commercial hits, Brad laughed. Don't offend Brad's Metallica sensibilities, Mike smiled. Have you heard of Styles of Beyond? I also love Wu-Tang and Depeche Mode. What about you? I love everything from Queen, Nina Simone, Mary J., Zeppelin, Depeche Mode, STP, to Miles and Coltrane, the Bee Gees and 70s pop one-hit wonders, to George Michael, Tupac, Jay-Z, and Dre, to Kiss and Crew. Even some country. As long as it has an identity, a sound, I can sing it, and it evokes an emotion or a reaction in me, I said. You're all over the map. What'd you think about Us? Mike asked. His tone took me by surprise and made me feel like I was the one on stage. But his questions were direct and confident. Considering I've seen your first and only show, I have a sense that there's something there. I think you and Brad have a chemistry that's intriguing, but it's very early. I need more time to give you real insight. Outside of that, I get this special feeling. You know, that one when the hairs on your arm stand up and you get that funny tingling inside your stomach? I don't want to seem cynical, but how do you make decisions? Like, what makes you able to decide who makes it and who doesn't have the talent? Mike asked respectfully. I wonder that every day, I laughed. I just have faith in myself to know when to have faith in others. There are certain undefinable qualities that I sense in artists that inspire me to invest time and energy into helping them reach their full potential. I have a strong sense of music, and when I'm at my best, I'm able to find and bring out talent and qualities in people that they didn't even know they had. How does that work? Joe asked. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I can direct you there, but I can't force you to it. For that relationship to work, it requires trust and communication. It doesn't mean that the artist and I will always see eye to eye or always get along. The ability to argue over something is good if it pushes the artist to do better. Music consumes me like a beast. I want success for the artist so bad that when someone's full potential isn't being reached, it emotionally and physically stresses me out. Like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Just like that, I laughed. Sometimes I'm a hard ass and will drive you to the brink of thinking you just want to kill me. The artist almost always thinks they're functioning at their top ability. In a band, there are various personalities, and not everyone is functioning at the same level at the same time. I will see the best attributes in you and let you know when you aren't doing your best work, even when you may believe you're giving it your all. You know when you're running up a hill and you think you're convinced you're going to collapse and die? Well, that's your brain simply flashing a warning signal, protecting you. Your body actually has an extra 10% more to go before collapsing. Be prepared, because I will push you that full extra 9% before you truly die, or kill me in the process. That will make the difference between the stars and the failures. But again, I can't do it alone. So, you may be interested in working with us? Mark asked, lying back in his seat, one leg sprawled out while his back reclined, clearly trying to be the one in command. If you're interested after all the horrible warnings I just gave you about how hardcore I can be, you must be a brave soul. Developing a band is a ton of work, but I could be down with that. Let me sit with the idea, I said. Brad laughed and pulled out a box. Before we leave, happy birthday. I opened the top to reveal a pair of new Adidas sweats. If you're going to be hanging with us, you need to look the part, he said. The Nikes and Gap jeans combo isn't cool. Hugging the band goodbye, I invited them to my birthday party that weekend. I knew I was about to sign these guys, and I realized I would have to revamp my entire wardrobe in the process. Chapter 5. You want to sign your intern? My attorney and good friend, Danny Hayes, tossed his surfboard into my beat-up 4Runner as I cranked Xero's demo loud enough to wake the sleepy beach town of Venice. What are we listening to so deafeningly loud at 7 o'clock in the morning? Danny screamed as we drove along the coast, looking for a great surf break. I can't stop listening to this demo, I yelled back. This is my intern's band. I think there's something here. We parked at El Porto Beach, donning our full wetsuits, surveying the faces of the waves as the demo continued to blast through our speakers, providing the perfect soundtrack for our morning surf. Good shit, right? The waves, yes. The band, I'm not so sure. Paddling through the whitewater, I said, I think Xero has something special. We should develop this band. We? Yeah, you and me together. Didn't you just tell me the band has only played one show? The demo sounds cool, but shouldn't you focus on getting Macy a deal? He yelled over the waves. I don't think it's smart to take on 2 development artists. Do you really believe in this particular band that much? I just have a feeling about this band, and I love getting in on the ground floor and doing something meaningful. Anyone can come in after the hard work's been done. Where's the satisfaction in that? The satisfaction is keeping your job. There's no rush, man. Don't let your ego make mistakes. No, it's definitely not ego. I may be ambitious and overly driven, I laughed, but my passion is based in reality. I shook my head. You and I only have a brief window of time to make an impact.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?